Hi everybody, I'm Amber. This is another episode of Steampunk's Summer Science Series. So today we're going to be doing an experiment on how to make rainbow paper. So let's get started. Okay, so let me tell you what you guys will need to get started for this experiment. First, you'll need a bowl with some water. You'll need clear nail polish. It doesn't really matter what kind or what brand you use. Like if you look closely, this one has like a pink tint, the top coat. This one is like more of just a clear top coat, but both work as long as they're like, fairly clear sheer nail polish. Some scissors and some black construction paper or black cardstock. All right, so to get started, like I said, it's really easy. You just fill your bowl with water. You take one of your nail polishes and you're going to drop just one drop of nail polish into your bowl of water. If you watch closely, if you look at your bowl, you'll notice that the nail polish disperses across the surface of the water. You probably can't see it on camera right now, but when you're looking into your bowl of water, you'll notice that the nail polish disperses across the surface and you can almost see the colors expand. So you're going to take a piece of paper. Mind you, you're going to want to cut these beforehand. So cut them either into small squares or thin strips. It's totally up to you. And then you simply just dip your paper into the water. You can press it down if you like, but it's just going to sit there, and then push it, submerge, and pull it out. And you'll notice, like, I don't know if you can see, but you'll notice that there are some bubbles across the surface here. You can either leave those be and just let them dry naturally, or you can pop them because sometimes water will get inside of them. And then if you notice, you can already start to kind of see the color spreading across the paper, but then you're going to want to put your paper aside and let it dry. It'll take about 10 to 15 minutes for them to dry fully. And you can continue to make as many as you like. Okay, everyone, so just so you know, the nail polish does dry, fairly quickly on the surface of the water, and it will create a film that will stick to the paper. So to do this activity, you're gonna wanna do it like fairly quickly. Make sure you're dipping your paper within like 10 to 15 seconds after you drop the nail polish. You guys might also notice that at certain times I'm using the popsicle sticks. I realize I didn't explain this, but I was trying to use the popsicle sticks at first to remove the pieces of paper from the bowl after I submerged them, but it's really not necessary, and it's honestly easier to just use your hands to pull the papers out. But I was using the popsicle sticks to get some of the pieces of nail polish, because when you drop it on the water, sometimes bits of it can be left behind. And like I said before, you don't want to double up or, make the nail polish get too many layers on top of the surface of the water. So you can just use the popsicle stick or your fingers, whichever you like, to retrieve the pieces of nail polish that are left behind. So, to explain some of the science behind it, the colors on the paper change as you tip the paper back and forth under different shades of lighting. This happens because the paper will hit different angles of the light, and it's caused by something called thin film interference. Thin film interference is a natural phenomenon in which light waves reflected by the upper and lower boundaries of a thin film interfere with one another, which either enhances or reduces the reflected light. When the thickness of the film, which in our case is the clear nail polish, is an odd multiple of 1/4 wavelength of the light on it, the reflected waves from both surfaces interfere to cancel each other out. So since the wave cannot be reflected, it is made visible on the paper instead. So when white light, which consists of a range of wavelengths, is on the film, certain colors are intensified. That's why we get this, array of like different rainbow shades on our pieces of black paper. You wouldn't really be able to see it on white paper, essentially. The black paper allows that light to get in there and reflect that rainbow onto the paper. So, thin film interference explains multiple colors, like seen in light, reflected in things like soap bubbles, oil in water, or oil on that comes from cars and like puddles when it rains. So, if you've ever seen like a puddle that's full of like liquid, like a liquid rainbow, that's the phenomenon known as thin film interference. Okay, so here are some of our finished products. So if you notice, I hope you can see it on camera, but the way that the light kind of caught on this, you kind of see like the rainbows and stuff. But so if you look at when I was dropping the nail polish in there, you can absolutely experiment and try different amounts of nail polish. One drop is good to cover like, a piece of paper, like this thin. It'll, pretty much get almost the whole piece of paper. But if you want like bigger pieces like this, I definitely tried to do 2 or 3 drops on the surface, but you just have to make sure that you have to look closely into your bowl of water and make sure that you're not layering the nail polish on top of each other. Pretty much like if you can see where the nail polish is in your bowl of water, you don't want to put more nail polish on top of that area. You want to try to put the nail polish only in areas where the water is clean. That's because like if the nail polish will like layer up on each other, it'll just get too filmy, and when it dries, it'll kind of like flake off kind of like this, This is like a smaller little strip, but see how it's almost like this thin, weird film? It'll do that if you like layer the nail polish too much. But for the finished pieces, like once they're fully dry and you can actually, pick up the paper and it doesn't feel wet, for the finished pieces, I pretty much anything that you do with paper crafts, you can use these for. So you can turn this into a bookmark, you can make it into like a greeting card. You can also cut them up into small, tiny pieces and make biodegradable paper confetti. It's whatever you want to do. Like the options are pretty limitless. But yeah, so that's the science behind it. Thin film interference. Let me know if you guys have any questions. If you want more ideas for science experiments, you can visit our YouTube page. And I hope you guys had a good time, and thanks for joining me. Bye.